out there, thank you again for tuning into Blue Green's World and on my quest to find very interesting people. Wow, this one's going to be amazing. So, who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, my name is Wesley. Wesley the Keeper, most people know me as, or from the music world, Wesley Bright. But Wesley the Keeper, I run Akron Honey. I'm looking at you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I run Akron Honey. I'm a beekeeper, but I'm also, I'm an owner-operator of this super fun and delicious honey brand where we look at what people love to eat and then we create honey that tastes really good with those things, beverage line, things like that. So, that's a part of what I do. Also, a smaller part of what I do nowadays is the music. So you've been playing music for a while, performing live, recording, writing music or film and TV on the side, little things like that. So, that's what I do. Community development now, I guess. Brand building, a little bit of everything, dad, all that stuff.
I love it. You got a busy schedule there. I love it. So let's talk about music.
Okay.
When did you find music? When did that passion come to you?
Man, I was older when I found music. A lot of people don't know that. Like most people, think that if you are a musician now, like I'm 44, you're a musician, that means you've been doing it since you're like 15. Like I think I was pretty much like 30 when I started. And I'll tell you what happened. I used to work at SeaWorld when I was a kid. And when I was a kid, meaning like when I was 14 years old, and I went on break with two of my buddies, and they started singing this song. They were okay at singing, and I knew I could sing. So I jumped in and started singing with them, and they both looked at me and started laughing. And then I was like, oh man, so I just never sang again. Until I was 30, bro. But I had been, I started when I was 30, and I believe maybe a little couple of years earlier than that, started with a small band, Operations, but then Wesley Bright and the Highlights entered the scene. So it was myself and like 6 other cats, and it was, a lot of folks know about that. That's kind of how they remember myself and music is with the Highlights, and then the Honeytones. We turned it to the Honeytones a few years later, and then after that, I just kind of did a little touring, fell into, film and TV, writing, songs like for the relaunch of the rebrand of Ohio, Heart of It All. Like that was like a song I wrote and performed, and doing spots for the Ohio Lottery, little things like that. Yeah.
Was that the whole band with the Ohio? That was a commercial, right?
That was a commercial.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you look it up, it's out there. I'll have a link in the bottom so you can check it out. Wow, that was amazing. I remember watching with them. I'm like, wait a second, I know that voice. I know that guy. Because I tune into audio. Like when I hear things, it's even when I see people. When I see people, I'm like, when I hear them, I'm like, oh, I know you.
Yeah.
But so you started late, but you have a hell of a stage presence. Where'd you get that stage presence from?
Just different people are good at different things. So, okay, this person's good at math. Mm-hmm. This person's good at organization. This person's good at planning. Like I'm good at being in front of people. That's it.
I feel it. I mean, before this podcast started, we were talking about ADHD, and I feel most comfortable on stage. Put me on stage, tell a story at the microphone. Oh my God, I love
your brain just takes care of it. It's like autopilot.
I was never a singer, but I always fantasized I'd love to be a singer for a band. I thought about covering a Beastie Boys band, get 2 other dudes to do a Beastie Boys band because they're never going to tour again, right?
Yeah.
And then you could like really have fun with it.
Then that was a need that was used to. Yeah.
So I don't know, but I admire the idea to get on stage. It's such a feeling, isn't it?
It is. It's like this different kind of connection where it's not just like, one-on-one. It's like you and then all these folks who are really depending on you to, drive the vibe and the feeling and be a part of, you want me to say, okay, be a part of their life for that hour and just deliver on what you're supposed to deliver on. And it's kind of, again, like folks who aren't good in front of people, it's like terrifying. But like, that's just like, give me a stage. I don't want a script. Give me a topic. Let's go.
Oh, I'm right there too. I don't want a script either. I bullet points. Give me some bullet points so I keep on track, or like it's like a rail, I guess, to keep me, going in the right direction. I totally feel that.
Yeah.
So how did you get into producing music for commercial-driven stuff and things of that nature?
Yeah. So it was about a year before the pandemic, maybe in 2019, when it really kind of went full go. A friend of mine, his name is Chris Harris, DJ Skrilla, most people know him as, and he was in, and still is, in the film and TV music industry, and he brought me in. He and I knew each other back at Kent State, so like we kept touch, and I saw him grow in the music world as a DJ, and then he saw me grow in the music world with our band, the Honeytones. And he just brought me in one day. He was like, "Hey, can you sing this thing?" And so I went into the studio and I sang this thing as a hook. And then I said, "Hey, I could do more than that." And so I started playing keys, and I picked up the horn, started doing horn parts, and that's kind of it. Like really, music writing doesn't have to be complicated. For film and TV, it's got to be hooky. It's got to be simple. It's not like a creative outlet. It was not like that. And that's the tough part. That is the tough part about, for me, for writing music for film and TV. If you are in it to be a creative, it's for commercial, it's that you may be missing the mark. That may not be the thing for you. That the creative outlet is not there. It is, but it's augmented. I don't want to say it's not there. It's just augmented. You have a client who wants a specific thing, and then there's deliverables, and you got to give it to them. And even if I'm in the studio and I do all those deliverables, and I'm like, "Yo, this sounds great," it's gonna go to our engineer. It's gonna go to our producer, where they're going to have to cut it down and throw things in there that's going to make you feel as a creative, like, what are you doing with my stuff? You just got, for me to survive, to survive in that place, I had to just abandon my instincts when it came to creativity. So I understand that I was going to be creative, but this thing is going to change. That's kind of how I had to exist in it. I know you didn't ask all that, and I'm telling you all that, but that was that. And when I tell people oh yeah, I did, do music for film and TV, they're like, "Whoa!" I was like, "It's cool. It's cool." The coolest part that I've been able to experience with, and this is another question you didn't ask me, I'm just going to tell you.
Oh, that's fine.
Another part that's the coolest is that. So there's this the music library called West One. They're from the UK, and we do a lot of work for them. And they asked us. They said, "Hey, Wesley, can you and the team do a 10..." I'm going to turn this off. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's no worries.
I forgot that I had this on. I usually have this all the way off.
It happens. I turn mine off. I usually say something, but I forgot today. Yeah. But the other thing, too, the microphones, they pick up great close, so if there's noise, we're fine.
Okay. So West One hits us up and said, "Hey, can you guys do a 10-song soul album?" For Christmas, though. I was like, "Yeah, it could be a Christmas soul album. We can do that." And so what we did, we went and we recorded this at Arc Studios right there with Benny. Mm-hmm. And so what I did was get in the studio, wrote a whole bunch of songs, called up a couple of my homies from the Honeytones. I think it was Nathan was there, Nathan Paul Davis. Matt Garrett was there as well as our trumpet player. And then I got a couple students from Firestone High School. Mm. And so we threw this album together. It's on Spotify and it's doing all good. And we cut this album, and West One loved it. And it's crazy to be able to get these students from high school, and they can say "Yeah, I was on this album, this Christmas soul album that's picked up on Netflix," or it got picked up on one. I just got an email the other day, and this kind of came out of nowhere, that one of the songs got nominated for it's this music award in UK is nominated. And I'm just like, "Oh, that's pretty dope." But being able to say "Yeah, these couple cats from these 17-year-old kids from Firestone are on that album. They're in the horn section." I love being able to create these moments like that where A lot of musicians aren't taught early about the business side of things. They mostly see, gigging, but it's way more than that, So yeah, man, like there are those shining moments in writing music for film and TV that are near and dear to me. Like, yeah, we'll get placements and stuff from songs that I have during that time. Maybe it's from, I don't know, like, we got in, She-Hulk. We had like a song in She-Hulk and had a Jameson Whiskey picked up a song, and like they get picked up all the time. But like those moments where you can like elevate your community, like that's what really got me excited and still does when it comes to that.
Oh, I mean, that changed their career. I mean, that shows them a real something, something that's real and tangible. You don't get that a lot of times with music, until you make your own CD, your own something, or you play. You don't really get credits on something like that you can point to.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that either, that there's more than just playing songs, you can fill in. Yeah. You can work with the production team with it. There's so many things involved in it, and kudos to you for bringing people into it.
No, we should. It's thanks. But like, it should be normal. Like, lift as you climb.
Agreed.
And although, like, to us, it's like, wow, that changed their careers. They don't realize it yet because they're young. And it's like, for my daughter was one of them. She played Barry on the album, and like to her, it's super normal because like everywhere she goes. With me, like, oh, it's Wesley Bright. Hey, it was Wesley Bright. And so it's normal for her. She, who's now at UA, and she plays saxophone in their music program, she is going to start having those dots connected later on. When she is like doing her own thing and is realizing and remembering the experiences she had in the studio doing this music for West One, the times that we had to say, okay, everybody quiet on the set, or like, hey, too many notes, keep it simple. Although the creative side of you wants to play as many notes as you can, you gotta play what's palatable to people. So later on, usually it's later on when they get it, and that's okay.
It's a good foundation. It's a good foundation to start with. If you don't appreciate it first, once you start building, that foundation works solid.
Man, yeah.
So is this something you think you'll continue to grow, and do you want to continue in the music industry?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it there. I don't do too much. I had to step back from like writing for film and TV after that album, which was that was this past January that came out. 10 months ago it came out.
So when did they approach you originally about it?
Yeah.
What time frame did they give you to make this?
It was like a few months.
Wow.
But let me tell you what. Okay, so I know I said I stepped back from it, but like I'll step back in the game if it's like an emergency, like, yo, we need this thing, or this is a big deal. So like are you aware, like I know that I don't know anything about sports. I know you don't either, but the NBA was coming back to NBC since the 90s. Oh. So they were coming back. So they needed a song. That brought it back they could use for the theme song that would play before every game. And they hit us up. And I'm just like, oh, okay. I was like, I'll come out of retirement for that. So I got downstairs, made a makeshift studio down there, and we were asked to do that super popular song. What is that song? I completely forgot what that song is. That song was 105 watts. It was Express Yourself. So we were asked to do that song. So I did that song, and man, it was so fire. It was absolutely fire. And they told us like there were two different it was us and someone else they were choosing between. And I was like, okay, what is the other song there you guys are, considering? And it was like an Elvis Presley song. I was like, okay, if I can't beat an Elvis Presley song, I don't know, whatever. So like with myself, my daughter, I had to call up Tommy Lehman to do some trumpet for us, and he slayed it. It was so good. And it ended up not going with our song. And I was just like, so I got beat out by freaking Elvis Presley. it turns out that we didn't get beat out by Elvis Presley. We got beat out by John Tesh. I believe that's John. It was John. Like he was the one who originally. So I think that they just wanted to go with something that was nostalgic rather than modern soul, bringing it back. You know, so like that happened, and I was like super excited. I thought that we were about to like really do it. It's not even because of the money. I don't even know how much money we'd have made, but it's just like that challenge of doing something significant. You know, I love those opportunities. Love them.
How about scoring films? Would you want to score a film? Like, or would that be something you're not interested in?
I don't. Okay, so I don't know because I don't know nothing about it. You know,
that might be the beauty of it. I mean, if you don't know nothing about it, you could create something that's amazing, right? Because you're going in without boundaries and rules, and you can do what you want.
That's true. That's true. I would have to. So if I were to seriously be asked about, if Westone, whoever said, "Hey, Wesley, can you score this film? We love what you did with the Soul album. Can you do this film?" I would be like, "Okay, hang on," and I would just probably do what I always do. I just Google some films and just listen to the music. And I mean, like right now where I'm sitting, I don't feel like I have the toolkit to do that. Like I don't have that way of thinking to do. Now my daughter has always wanted to score films. I would ask her like, can we do this? You know, and I don't. You know, she's young and she's really hungry, but you know she's inexperienced. So like, you know, I don't know if we could do that. I would try.
I mean, like Trent Reznor has went over to scoring films now, does amazing.
True.
Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead does films, and and it's different than anything you like. If you ever seen There Will Be Blood, that's his score.
Yo, love that flick.
And the sound alone is just like the beginning piece where there's this tone is that like eats you the whole time. That's all his stuff. Anyways, I can see you going then. Who knows? Maybe there's a director out there that's watching this. I mean, if I'm thinking, maybe they say, "Hey,
give me a call."
I mean, there's some really good directors out there doing some amazing work in Hollywood. You know, like what was the most recent film that I saw that blew my mind? Nope. Jordan Peele. Have you seen that one yet?
I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's really good. It takes a twist on UFOs I've never ever thought of, which blew my mind. I love like the concepts of UFOs and aliens and stuff, and he's
putting out some mind-bending stuff.
By far. And I can't look. I'm looking forward to his new piece. It's about football.
Him?
Yeah. That looks wild. But anyways, his films, I mean, I've always been a big fan of his from Key and Peele days, you know, and see that transition into just one of the best directors that we have. And anyways, that's just big thinking, I guess. Let's say maybe Jordan Peele's watching this. Well, I truly doubt it, but you know, hey, this guy right here, Phoenix soundtrack. So let's talk about Honey. So we haven't talked about Honey. To my knowledge, you came on the Honey scene like, I don't know, 9 years ago. The first time I remember seeing you, I think I'd seen you around town and I knew of you, but I'd seen you with the Shane Wynn photograph in the Devil Strip, I believe it was. Shout out to the Devil Strip. You know, they did great work in this community. I wish they were still here. I really do. It's a shame that went under. But yeah, great photography work in there. And I don't know. When did your fascination or love of honey begin?
So the fascination and love of honey for me, if it happened, began after I started it. So I know that most people began to notice us like 9 years ago. We've been doing it at this point 12 years. So it was 2013 where I saw this vacant lot right across the street from here, and you know, I bought it and decided to start keeping bees. Now, at that point, I wasn't like fascinated by them, so I didn't understand them. I didn't know. The fascination just starts later and starts growing, because then you don't know what you don't know, and then you go through, you're like, whoa. You know, so you're learning all the lessons that honeybees teach you. You learn about like honey, why it's so important. And then you learn that, like, dude, urban honey is insane. It's absolutely insane. When I started, I didn't, you know, again, what I don't know, I didn't know what I didn't know. And I didn't know, like, that most beekeepers, you know, you harvest your honey and you strain it to get all the stuff out, and then you bottle it. Like, I was just, like, harvesting and not straining and just going into a jar, which what that does is that keeps it just, the flavor is just on high. Now, it's the fact that we're in the city gives us wonderful flavor. But like, because I wasn't straining or filtering, it just made us famous. It made us so famous. When people just taste it, they're like, whoa, it's crazy. So like that was 2013, 2014, 15 happened, and we just, we start doing do the same thing, but like on the east side of Akron. We grab another vacant lot, develop it, and we're keeping bees there. And folks just lost their mind. It was in Middlebury, where we have Middlebury apiary, where it still is. And folks were just like, yo, this honey is just like, what the heck? And that honey was over there in Middlebury in the fall. It's like red. It is red, and it's like, the flavor's just immaculate. And so folks kept saying like, yo, I'm putting this stuff on this and that and chicken and sandwiches and yogurt. So then we were like, okay, some realization happened. I started noticing that like folks were using our honey with everything. And then it wasn't until I was on a trip with Philip Neighbors. Philip Neighbors, a lot of folks don't realize his accomplishments. I'm gonna shout him out real quick. Mm-hmm. He took me out to Expo West during 2016. In the next few years, he did the same thing. Expo West is the biggest natural products expo in the world, and it happens in LA, like Anaheim. And when we were walking, like folks were just like looking over and like, oh my gosh, I thought they were looking at me. They were looking at Philip. Like they knew Philip because he's had such a large contribution to the natural foods industry. I didn't realize that he helped out Ben and Jerry when they were first starting. He's a G. He's been around. But I didn't realize until we went out to Anaheim what we actually were, what Akron Honey actually was. I'll never forget, we were walking through this huge convention center, and there's just like brands everywhere. It's an ocean of people. And so he's just like, we're walking together. He's just kind of real quick, Philip Neighbors quiz. He says, also like, what do you got? What do you do? Like, Wesley, what do you do? Urban Honey. And he's like, okay. Like, what do people say? I'm like, oh, they love using it, this and that, and flavor. He goes, oh, so you're a flavor brand. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a flavor brand. And that's been our identity. Like, that's been our identity, just by listening to what people say, how they use our honey. It's like, it's all about flavor. It's all about, solving this problem of honey where everyone used to use it as Tito's biscuits, that's it. But they don't realize you put some Bourbon Barrel on pancakes and it slaps, or you put that on salmon and it slaps, or you put Habanero Hot honey on your pizza and your veggies and it kills. Like that right there that helps shape our identity. When I think of Akron Honey, yeah, I think of that, but mostly I think of how people perceive us as a brand. And as a brand, if you were to ask online, like, hey, what are the 3 words that describe Akron Honey? What comes to mind when we say the word Akron Honey, the phrase Akron Honey? And people will say community, they'll say love, they'll say family, they'll say I've done this before. And they said all these things. And they say good honey and tasty honey and all stuff, but like I realized that it was the way we made people feel that impressed upon them almost permanently. They see how we're going into schools. They see how we turned down $200,000 and decided to stay here in the community and were successful. That fairy tale story, that's what we mean to them. I still get kids coming up to me, and they're adults now. They come up to me like, hey, you remember me? I'm like, they're like, you taught me when I was in 3rd grade at St. V. I'm like, whoa, you a whole grown person now, but like it means something to them. Like our brand has very proudly been able and humbly been able to like, lift as we climb. We've been able to lift as we climb. And, I think a part of you being here today, and thankfully, is that like we're lifting again. The big significant part of our story right now is that we're launching a new business district. most people don't know about it. We haven't been shouting it out terribly. We've just been like building the blocks, and the name of that district is Yellow Brick Road. One of the only yellow brick roads in Akron is right here, and it's like a cluster. It's like a little neighborhood. I know we're in Highland Square, but this has its own identity. This corridor has its own identity, and this district is really just going to look just like and feel like the community, which is cozy, romantic, and charming. We do that often. We look for whatever we do. We find like 3 words as a filter, and we filter every decision through that. So if we want to get some planters outside, okay, is that cozy? Is that romantic? How can we make it more charming? If we're planning events, okay, how can we create an aesthetic, an ecosystem out here that feels cozy, romantic, and charming? So we're doing that, and a big part of this district, I guess, at the beginning of this is like our pop-up public market that we're starting right in the alley that's right behind me. If you had X-ray vision, y'all would be able to see like right behind me. There's an alley there. There used to be a building there, and it was torn down because it caught on fire, and that's a whole different story. I'm not gonna. So. Yeah, it caught on fire, and it's kind of crazy. It happened when we were all working in here. The whole family was working in here, and the owner, who was there when that fire started, he came down like, "Hey, get out of here! There's a fire!" We got out of here, and the rest was history. That was burned, and through the land bank, we were able to. After the building was razed, we were able to buy this alley, and since then we've connected. A lot of really awesome things have happened, but we've connected with like some of the best people and bringing these worlds together to create this really amazing concept of a new district. And it's funny, like you were talking about earlier, how like just our journey, but like I just checked this email right before we started, and it was from Kent State. We're working with Kent State and another local architect to develop and ideate and draft and create this new district. And it was a proposal with a specific number, and it was a big number. We had to pay for them, but like we're bringing them in. We've had like conversations with Akron Children's Hospital and trying to figure out how we can bring them in as well. In not just like, maybe it's yoga in the alley. Maybe it's some sort of health and wellness aspect. More like sooner. What we're doing this month, and this is a super fun thing. We're doing dinner and a movie. So we're like transforming this alley into a movie theater. Mm-hmm. And you know how like you go to a movie theater and you go get food and everything. We're going to have a gourmet hot dog cart called Frankie Lynn. They're going to be out here. And we're also going to be serving mocktails from our tea truck. Do you know about a tea truck? I don't know if you... Bro, we messed around and imported this K truck. Do you know what a K truck is? Huh. It's like this 10-foot long truck from Japan. It's real small. I'm familiar with this, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we built out a tap system, made it into a food truck, but just tea. So we'll be able to do like a mocktail menu from that. So... and
these are, I'm assuming, honey infusion teas or something?
Oh, yeah.
Sort? Okay. So you're infusing your product into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, sorry, man. My allergies in, like, my eyes.
Yeah, it's been pretty bad here. We've had, like, dry weather for people watching podcasts for, like, months, and then it started to rain. And all this is in the air right now, and it's, like, horrible to breathe.
I was driving yesterday, windows were down, and I literally felt like allergies hit me.
You can literally, feel it hit. You put your hand out the window, it's like it's accumulated like bugs, but it's not. You don't see it.
Yeah, I felt like I hit a wall of humidity, but it was allergies.
It's pretty bad this year. It's been bad all summer this year for me. I've had like this low-lining headache. It seems to be like in the mornings. It just like, I don't know, but it's getting better now, I must say.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
So, anyways, you're doing teas infused in hot.
So let me tell you how it happens. So we make this hibiscus honey, and how we make it is we get dried hibiscus flowers. We infuse those in raw honey, and then 7 days later we remove those flowers, and there's just this deep, dark, tart, fruity honey, which is our hibiscus honey. Mm-hmm. However, those flowers that were in that honey those are now soaked in honey. So these are hibiscus flowers soaked in honey. And we were just amassing buckets, like buckets upon buckets. Like I'm pretty sure we got like 60 buckets sitting downstairs with all of that inside of there. And we're like, what are we gonna do? We're just stockpiling it. And we were like, why don't we just brew it and see what happens? And man, there was so much flavor left in those flowers. So we came up with that concept, we bottled it, and it started taking off. I mean, it's taken off. Since then, we created also lavender lemonade concept where we take lavender buds, we infuse them in water, add organic lemon juice and raw honey, and there you go. So like these beverages, they're not sweetened with sugar, but sweetened with honey. And it's going pretty well. I mean, that's kind of what made us start the tea truck. That's because, folks were going so crazy over those teas. Then I'm like, if we can create, like, what are we really good at? We're really good at experience. People love these teas. We're really good at experience. How can we take these things and put them together? And that's the tea truck. And we've deployed this tea truck a few times, and man, that was a good risk. It cost about $25,000 total to build out this truck, including purchasing it. So it's kind of like a trend now. These little K trucks and K vans. They're stateside here, although they're banned in Ohio right now on the roads. You can get them and import them pretty cheap. Like we got our K van from I think it was Osaka, and it was like $4,000. To bring it on over, to buy it and bring it on over. We had to go to the port of Baltimore with the trailer and pick it up, but like it's pretty affordable to do that. But we did that, and it was a good gamble. It was a good gamble. Yeah.
Liquid is always a great thing to sell, no matter what it is. There's a lot of profit in liquids, whether it be beer, whether it be alcohol, whether it be tea, whether it be, there's always a good profit margin.
I didn't know that. So, Happy Camper, the Happy Camper is this, they have like an Airstream. It's like a cocktail brand or whatever. Matt Maroon, who owns that, he's the one who told me like, yo, there's profit margins are in beverages. He's like, I go to these food truck events and I'm like looking at all these food trucks and making all this food and all we doing is pouring. And I'm like, okay, I got it.
And even if you're using top end ingredients across the board, the best of the best, you're still getting a hell of a profit on it. Huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. We do. So since there's no alcohol in ours, the profit margin is less. So we have to turn a lot of volume, which has worked. Which has absolutely worked. I think so. At Ohio Mart just happened this past weekend, and there was like 4 days. It was 4 days. So I'm pretty sure we sold about like almost 1,000 bottles from those 4 days. Man, we were cranking, probably maybe a little bit more if I check the numbers. But people love this stuff. So like when I look at things like that, like I'm a type of business person who I like to look between the lines and look at the writing compared to the writing on the wall. So like between the lines, people are saying without saying, we love this stuff. We love this stuff. But the writing on the wall, I look at people and their behaviors, including myself. When I go places and I drink something that's really good, I often want something to eat. I have observed other brands in the market, specifically this brand called Rachel's Ginger Beer. She, unfortunately, she passed, I think, a couple years ago, but like her brand started with these growlers of ginger beer and they created a culinary experience around that. So the problem I'm trying to create is this tea is so good, I want more of it. And dang, I wish I had something really good to eat with this. That was kind of crafted to go really well with that rather than going somewhere else and getting some food with this. So I'm trying to create that problem. And we're working towards the construction of that problem and solution. So what does that look like specifically? Well, some sort of culinary venture surrounding the tea. Currently, our tea truck says tea truck. So I'm positioning it so tea truck can be its own brand within the Akron Honey universe, but like outside of Akron Honey, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah. So that's a part of where we're doing a lot, I guess. Like, so that's a part of what we're doing on top of, in conjunction with building out the alley here. Another part of Yellow Brick Road District that I don't think I mentioned is that in addition to it being cozy, romantic, and charming, we're going to program into it layers of food experience. So yeah, dinner and a movie. You got this artisan hot dog cart. You've got the tea truck serving mocktails. Cool. You know, on November 2nd, we partnered with Seed, a restaurant that is like a migratory restaurant. And we're going to have like our first fancy Akron Honey experience. So like hors d'oeuvres and proper mocktails, servers right here in the alley. We'll be, partnering with a yoga studio to do these little experiences out here that end with like, healthy beverages and some Pop-Tarts from Black Dog Vacant Company. So when I'm saying layers of food experience, like we are very intentionally going after these experiences that like we've never done and we haven't seen places do often or ever.
I think it's a wonderful idea. And you've been practicing this for a while now with your community days
Practice,
here.
yeah.
So you've been doing the work and bringing people in. You have the community built. You have a following that regularly comes for this. It's a huge event. I mean,
it's Akron Honey Market Day, man.
It's big in the community. Everybody in the community I know that lives around here talks about. They look forward to it. They look forward to supporting things in their community.
Yeah.
But so you've already done it. Now you're just transferring it to something a little bit bigger and more regular, right?
Yeah, with Akron Honey Market Day, we created a problem. Mm-hmm. We created a problem. People wanted it more. And for the first several years of Akron Honey Market Day, the first 2 years, we're like, oh, we did it once a year. And then we're like, oh, you want more of it? So then we started doing it 2 times and 3 times a year. But what we found is that magic, that lightning in a bottle, that magic that we created with Akron Honey Market Day kind of diminished because it was so accessible. It was accessible and folks can say, you know what? It's happening in another 2 months. I'll skip this one and I'll catch the next one. So when we did it a few times a year, it wasn't as busy each market. So what we do is kind of reverse engineer that. We say like, okay, let's just keep that. It's one thing. And again, writing on the wall, what people are experiencing, let's see if we can create these other experiences. And, we started doing that. And I tell you, our last market day is when we first activated this alley, before the mural, all that stuff. And I tell you, it was popping. And that was confirmation for me that writing on the wall was worth investigating more and leaning into more. How can we create these experiences in this alley? Layers of food experience that are cozy, romantic, and charming. Like, how can we do that? Like, let's pedal on that and like let's keep our finger on that pulse. Yeah.
What a wonderful idea. The Yellow Brick Road, and you said that I just drove through there, and I'm like, yeah, that's Yellow Bricks. Yeah. It's a wonderful idea.
I mean, look, man, you don't have to do anything fascinating or mind-blowing. Do regular shit. Mm-hmm. Am I able to say that?
Yeah. My phone.
Oh, do just regular ass stuff.
Exactly.
Just do regular stuff, but just do it really good. And listen, look, man, you don't have to go to business school for this one. I know business school. Like I didn't have to go to school at all. I have like a bachelor's degree in business, and then I have a master's graduate certificate in, I think it was strategic global HR or something like that. I don't even know what that means. But like, as long as you just listen to the people who have the money in the pocket, who's willing to pull it out and give it to you in exchange for that stuff, if you listen to them, they'll give you the roadmap. If you ask them the right questions and give them the right circumstances, they spill the beans. You just got to pick the beans up and make casserole out of it. You know what I mean? I don't even like casserole.
That's a good analogy, though. That's a good analogy. So you start this company, you start selling honey, locally.
Yeah.
I believe you just started yourself selling it, correct? Just at market day and that.
Yep.
And now you're at several locations.
Yeah.
You can find it in big grocery stores around here and places.
Yeah.
So how did you make that transition? How did that happen?
It's kind of crazy. Everything I've done in the past and I tell my daughter this, everything I've done in the past has really helped how easy it was to like grow and enhance the brand. Typically to get in the grocery stores, you got to like send an email to the buyer. You got to show up differently because they got like thousands of SKUs. With us, we had been in the game, the honey game, for so long, and amassed just fans of the brand for so long that a lot of people knew about us already. People who worked at the grocery store knew about us already. They could vouch for us. But then also, because I'd done music for so long, a lot of these fans from when we were like 10, 15 years ago, they now work at the grocery stores. They are the gatekeepers. And I gotta tell you, like, for instance, Market District, Giant Eagle, how we got into that, man, I think they called us. So they called us and he's like, hey, one of our employees vouches for you guys. Your honey's awesome. But then he says that he grew up with your music. He's like, I'm a musician. And I'm just like, oh, wow. And he goes, I looked at some stuff you did. It was awesome. And then, like, that's happened quite a few times. A lot of times when I'm doing honey, like, and especially in Cleveland, doing a Christmas show, whatever, folks come up to our table, we doing honey flights, and they're like, I just want to say thank you for playing music. And then they start mentioning specific experiences they had. I was at that one show at Mayhall's. I was at that show at the Beachland Ballroom, and you did. So, like, everything that has been done and very much in the public spotlight has really helped us to get where we're at today.
Wow. So you mentioned, and you're somewhere back a few sentences ago, you turned down money.
Yeah.
I think I know what that alludes to.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to talk about that or not.
Cleveland Hustles?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. So,
and guess what? There's stuff that I've never said on camera that I'm ready to say now.
Let's talk about that. So yeah, that was a big deal. I mean, you got picked by this was LeBron's thing, correct?
Yeah. So it was a show. Cleveland Hustles was a reality show that was LeBron's thing. Spring Hill Entertainment, Maverick Carter, the homies. They're the ones who were behind this. I think it was on MSNBC. I'm thinking it was, but essentially it was like shark. I won't say Shark Bite, like Shark Bite connectors. No, it's not. It's Shark Tank.
Exactly, Shark Tank.
Shark Tank mashed up with Apprentice. And it was like a feel-good version of that. So it wasn't about like winners and losers. It was about, it was a show of hope, because there was like brands on there like Fount, nice family. And they're awesome. They're friends of ours. Like, it was them. It was like Randy's Pickles. It was quite a few other brands who were like, heartstring stories. And then there was us. And we happened to, be going up against Fount. And they, it's kind of crazy. Like, they won, but then we won as well. Like, you did so great. You killed your goal and everything. We want to make you the investment. And I'll never forget it. We had a launch party at Mustard Seed. I knew what happened, but everyone else didn't know. So like, everyone's just like, they're watching that episode. They see Fount killing it, and they're like, oh well, Fount, that means Akron Honey. They're back here. The family's back here anyway. They didn't win. They did a great job. Cool. We're so proud of them. They said the Fount won, but then they're like, because you did so well, we're going to do it first. We want to offer you the investment. And then everyone was like, wow. And so then, so then we get into the conversation about like, okay, yada, yada, yada. They said, do you want to, do accept the investment? And then I just like paused. And then it went to commercial. And so everyone's just like, oh. And then comes back from the commercial. And it picked up where it left off. Do you take this investment? And so I paused and I'm like, no. And I got to tell you, I wish I had, someone must have recorded it. I hopefully someone has video of the reaction, of the collective reaction of the room. It was a gasp. It was like the whole room had lungs. And it was just like, because everyone thought that like, if we win, we're taking this money. And we decided, I was like, no, we're not going to. And the part that people don't know that they didn't show, when we were on set, I didn't even know I was going to do that. Like when I was on the way up to make the decision and tape the decision, I was unsure as to what we were going to do. I didn't know that I knew that we had gotten the investment but I didn't know what I was going to say. And after just doing some quick soul searching on the way up there, it was kind of clear what I wanted to, that I needed to do. Because if we took that investment, we would have to go up to Cleveland. We'd have to leave the town that made us famous. We'd have to we couldn't do the lifting. Like, what it's a part of our DNA was lifting and enhancing the community, selling a lot of honey, innovating. Like, we were doing all, and you just couldn't do that thing up in Cleveland, that Akron Honey thing up in Cleveland. So, when I got there, it was just myself and the producer, and she's just like, she doesn't know what I'm about to say. And she's just like, I'm so happy for you. This is happy for you. She had her headset on there. Oh, happy for you. I'm like, oh, thanks. And she's like, okay, here they come. So they're outside. They come in. It was Bonin and Chef Sawyer. They come in. They sit down. They're like, hey, you did great. Da 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 da. You want to take the investment? I'm just like, no. And they go like this. They're like, and they're like, oh, wow. And so then he asked me again. He thought, just to make sure I heard him right. And they're like, just make sure you understand, we want to offer you the investment. Do you want to accept the investment? And I'm like, no. And so they look at each other, and then they just walk out of the room, and they go outside. And the whole staff is outside. And it's a storefront. So I'm like looking over, I'm looking at them, and everyone's just like,
that wasn't what they expected.
Yeah, man, they weren't expecting that. They were not expecting that. So after a couple minutes, I think that the producer outside, because the producer inside was just like, she's like tapping her papers. she's like, oh, I'm happy for you. And she's like, did you planning that? I was like, nah, that's what we got to do. And she's like, oh, good for you, good for you. And so they got themselves together outside. They came back in, and I thought they was about to screw me over based on what happened next. People don't know this part. They came in, and they sat down, and they were like, well, Wesley, we just don't think you're ready for the investment. And I was just like, oh, yeah, I'm thinking in my mind, oh, y'all about to do that? I was like, okay. I'm like, cool, I understand. So I thought I was about to get screwed over until I saw the episode. I thought I was about to get all the way screwed over and made to look like a fool. You know what I mean? Yeah, I thought they was gonna get me.
That's one thing that you don't get, when you turn yourself over to a television show. You signed off on all the paperwork. You signed off, and they can do whatever the hell they want.
You signed on them controlling the narrative, but they did the right thing.
That's good.
And I think it was the DNA of that show. LeBron isn't about screwing up, because I was the only one from Akron. What you gonna do? I'm another black guy from Akron doing beekeeping. They're not about to paint me. But here's the thing: LeBron wasn't even involved. He was winning the championship. If you remember that, he was winning the championship for the city of Cleveland at that time. So it's not. I didn't most people think that I never even met him. Nah. Maverick Carter. However, during a scene, Maverick came to our house and was we were talking and hanging out a little bit, but that's about it.
That's one guy I would love to interview. LeBron. I want to ask him one question about basketball, because I don't follow basketball, so it'd be I want to know about him, where he grew up around here. But yeah, I don't. Hey, I have a 100th episode coming up. If someone knows LeBron,
hey, 100 LeBron, man.
100 episodes, a big deal in Akron. Come on. Give me 5 minutes, please. Anyways, that's my dream wish list. Wow, that's a big deal to turn that down. And it makes a lot of sense. Akron and Cleveland are two different places.
Yeah.
Cleveland looks at Akron podunk area, and Akron doesn't look.
Cleveland don't come down. Cleveland. If you ask somebody from Cleveland to come down here, they're like, isn't that 50 minutes away?
Right. I mean, it's not no. You have to rebrand yourself to something else. It's just not going to work by any means. But that being said, it's hard to turn down cash, here and still have your principles.
It's hard to turn down cash if you don't see what's important to you. Mm-hmm. What was important to me was family. That was important to me. And the part I haven't said is that, when I talked about going up to the decision, before I even left, I remember I was walking out of the house, and my now 14-year-old daughter, she was, I don't want to do the math on air, she was way younger. I mean, this was 9 years ago. Mm-hmm. So she is little, and I'll never forget this. She looks up to me and she goes, "Daddy, don't go far away." And the reason why she said that is because she saw for the 3 days that we were taping, I was not home. because I was working full time still. I'm working at Verizon. As soon as I'm done with Verizon that day, I go to Cleveland to build this store out. Like, everything was last freaking minute. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. And she felt it. My family felt it. They saw how much I was beat down. Like, I was just like, and I'm gonna tolerate. Like, I'm fine. I'll keep going. But like, it was rough. It was rough, man. It was really rough. And that was a part of my experience, my history, that I often, those times in your life where something happens and you remember it and that shapes you. That was that for me. That was that. And that was the beginning of me realizing what was important. And that was like family. And we only had 2 girls at that time. And thank God I turned the money down, and we went on this trajectory, because since then we had 3 boys. Since then we were sitting in a production facility that we own free and clear. God's been good. You know what I mean? So like, you see what's important.
Follow it. Mm-hmm. Follow your heart.
Yeah.
Follow your heart over your head sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you gotta bring them together and make a decision. But yes, by all means, there's decisions I've made in life that I wish I could have went back, probably handled it differently. Maybe should have taken this position somewhere, but it wasn't meant to be.
But you're here for a reason. You're sitting in that chair. I'm sitting in that chair for a reason, because of the decisions we've made. Mm-hmm. Because of those decisions, not in spite, but because of those decisions. And
when someone comes up to you for advice, I'd say when you get a big decision, take time. Take a day, take 2 days, take a week, whatever you need. Yeah. Don't answer that question right on the spot.
Yeah.
Because that's what a lot of people want you to do. They're going to sit you down, they're going to offer you this great big thing, and be like, okay, do you want it? Here, sign.
Yeah.
Take some time in all fields. Wow, you've done a lot here. I mean, considering that what was this building before you got into it?
So this building was several things, but the 3 things that it was we are sitting in a church. This was a church most recently, right before we got it. So it was a church. When we bought this place, there's literally pews. There were pews in here. In the middle, there was an apartment. And then on the far side, it was a beauty shop. So there was walls between each one, knocked down some walls, took down the drop ceilings. I mean, we've invested a good amount of money. So I've been meeting with the city, and, with the city, you got to speak their language. You got to tell them when there's an ask of anything from an entity like the city, you got to speak their language, which is the investment. And, I put together this deck, and I this was like last month, where I finally put together this deck after having meetings with them for a year. And I said, like, yo, we've spent like almost $300,000 to build this place up. Buying it was $120, and then everything else after that was just improvements after improvements. Like most businesses take the wealth that they are that they're growing, and they reinvest it in the business. Like us, we're investing in the business, but because we're in the community, we're investing it specifically in the community, with how it looks, how it feels. This corridor has kind of been at like not a standstill, but it was almost like a stalemate for quite some time, where a lot of concepts just didn't work. The pizza shop, Leangelo's, which was formerly something else, like that's been the biggest staple on the block. They've been gone for a couple years now since the fire, but like that was the thing. There was other shops that tried to work. Was Every Bloomin' Thing was also a staple for many, many years until it sold to Leaf, who then moved over to West Market. But like this corridor had always been like a struggling corridor, mostly empty, mostly for most people just something that they pass by rather than stop at. And our idea is like, from this investment, like, what are we investing in? We're not, I don't think we should think about it like, you're investing in restaurants and businesses. No. Invest in things that build memories. Invest in things that shape experiences. Invest in that which is absolutely unforgettable. When we go to Disney World, you go in and they are masters of creating memories. When you walk in, you see the vastness of the Magic Kingdom, and you hear the music, and you're looking up and you see speakers, what you think are speakers. Some of them are, a lot of them are pumping out smells to reinforce the memories, because we remember 70% of everything that when we smell it. So like, that's what a brand like that is investing in. They're investing in their cast members who are paid to be gleeful and they're making you feel like you went into a multiverse. Like you got into a wormhole, you went to another universe where everyone's happy, everyone's smiling. The food are these big ass turkey legs where, and then like the animals talk. Like that's what they're investing in. And with us here, I think we have to take a page out of that book. Take a page out of the book of like Apple, where, we know the smartphone, but and I know this from working at Verizon, iPhone users don't look at a smartphone like it's an iPhone. And it has specific things that make it an iPhone, and you're part of a specific crowd because you have an iPhone. Why aren't we doing that? Like, that's what I want to invest in. I want to invest in memories. I want to invest in experiences that are absolutely unforgettable. Like, I feel like Yellow Brick Road, a part of Yellow Brick Road, this has happened with Akron Honey too, but a part of Yellow Brick Road is I want folks, when they visit, when they are in this community, to feel like, oh, there's only one Yellow Brick Road. Kind of like a lot of people say right now, like, oh, if you don't have Akron Honey, you just don't have honey. You have honey? Oh, it's not Akron Honey? Oh, no, I'm good. Yeah, memories.
That's what this experience aspect you're talking about. That's what a lot of Akron's missing. I ask everybody, what's Akron missing?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
We have little enclaves of great things all over the place, but there's no guided maze to walk you through with all the experiences that go with it,
Yeah.
Like you have in Disneyland. You're like, okay, you follow this route, everybody's going to be happy. We don't really have that here. And that's important. The other thing I feel in talking about this is how you fix broken communities. This is how you want to talk about making an area better. If you have crime rates that are high, you go in and you change the community. You change the way people think about the community.
Yeah.
They have pride in their community. That's why I started this whole show in the first place. I literally saw a kid throw a piece of garbage on the ground by a trash can on Howard Street.
Wow.
And I was like, why?
Wow.
If he had pride in his community, realize how powerful Howard Street is. We're talking Howard Street's like a Bones now, right? But it was like a jazz mecca at one time. And there's a kid just throwing a piece of garbage and thinking, I hate this community. I can't wait to get the hell out of this area. I hate it. But if they loved the community, or at least loved an element about it, that makes it so much better. And this is where it starts.
Yeah.
It starts with these young kids that come in and have built a memory, watching a movie here.
Yeah.
And they remember that and change that. Yeah. And then you don't want to leave the area. You want to stay here and better it. Yeah. You talk about brain drain. Brain drains because you can't stand being where you're at. But if people like you and people like a lot of organizations in this community, but I really like what you're on here too, because not a lot of, art galleries lift people up, right? I do a lot of art galleries. They lift people up all over the place, and they give artists their first time on the wall, that first experience. Rarely do I talk to businesses, and I'm not knocking any business, that talks about lifting the rest of the community up with them.
Well, it's not their responsibility.
Right, that's a rare thing that I hear. And word of mouth's important, right? It's the best advertising you have. When you help somebody else out that's in a business, they're going to tell all their business people about it, and all their business people about it. So,
and not everybody can too. Not everybody's business set up. I just happen to fall into it like that.
Well,
that's all.
I think it should be though. We were talking about
some of them should be
like uplifting kids into your programs and stuff. That's what it should.
You can do that, no problem. That's free.
It should all be about that, uplifting in some way. Not just that dollar. The profit's great, make money. We all got to make money to live. I'm all about making money.
Yeah.
But I don't know, what is it? You give more, you get more back, and it's not always.
You just learn more. So so in our production is very, very efficient, and at least the honey is super efficient, not the tea. The tea's on its way there. Mm-hmm. The honey's super efficient, where you don't have to have someone with an amazing skill set. You just need to have someone who can pour honey, who can put on a lid, who can do a crank to do the label. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we have an automated little system so you can hit a button, and then someone who can put a seal on and stand up. That's all you need. So we're sourcing labor from a lot of kids in the community. By design, everything we do in this FDA, ODA licensed facility is to bring people in, which is why like you'll probably never find an ODA, FDA food facility that's like this transparent. Like you can see what we're doing. So like in doing so, you see a lot of kids walking by, people walking by, but a lot of those are kids. And we've employed some of those kids. And I tell you, when you employ kids, you actually you start understanding the fabric of the community. They are the ones who absorb the most and show the most and tell the most through their actions. So like when we began to employ them, although we saw plenty of kids who were hurt and didn't have guidance and didn't have organization, who came from family situations that were really hard, really hard, up to and exceeding like them not feeling wanted, and you see the parents through them. The parents, not bad parents, but just worn out. Their kids aren't out in the street because they're bad parents. It's because like they're just trying to get through the day. Although we saw that, we saw their lights turning on when they were here, and how they looked at me as I'm a dad, but like it was weird how they were paying attention to me. They were paying attention to me. It was actually I liked it because they were listening to me way more acutely than my own kids did. And my own kids were here when it was happening, and they were watching the boys interact with me, and my kids were just being quiet, looking at them, and those kids were locked. These boys were locked in. They're locked in, and it's heavy because like most of the kids that we employed, they were young Black boys, and you know, not all. How should I say this? Those children didn't have dads around, either murdered or just didn't know their pops or whatever. So I feel like, and it felt like when they were here, like me or myself, we were creating this organization and a path for them and a way for them to exist that they were craving. They were craving someone to tell them what to do. They were craving for someone to be like, boy, get that together. Like, hey man, like they didn't like react like, oh, here we go again. They were like, oh, yep, gotcha. And it's you know, so you see where the community is at through the kids. You know, we've had kids in here who didn't have those challenges, you know, who, since they didn't have those challenges, they weren't just, you know, working on the basic stuff. They were able to work on more advanced things. Like they had the family structure at home. Like I've had kids in here who had, you know, no dad and a mom who told them they wish they had an abortion, to a kid in here who mom and dad are around and are brilliant and has like planted the seeds of brilliance into them, and it's really obvious. They're all over the board. But you get to see through the kids like where this place is at, where the community's at. You know, this is kind of, this next thing is related. You didn't ask this, but I'm gonna tell you. I often hear people bash public schools. Now we've gone to these public schools and we've taught, you know, kids from preschool to high school, and Akron public school teachers, they carry a heavy load. Give you a little bit of context. I went to Aurora High School, like one of the top schools in the United States. And I tell you, just from like watching the kids who were employed here and what I saw in the schools, the Akron public school teachers can't spend as much time just teaching academics without being parents. So they're being parents. And this isn't on any type of like metric. They're not measuring that. They're not measuring that at all. What they're measuring is like, okay, grades, outputs. But they're not measuring the accumulating circumstances that should be taken into context and into consideration. A lot of things happen to make me realize that. Like one of our kids go to Akron public schools, and I remember it was like 3 years ago, we were in the drop-off line, and I just noticed, and we were at Case, specifically Case, and I just noticed that like these teachers were coming up to the cars and like, come on, let's go, come on. I was like, I've never seen that before. And it just felt really warm. And I just noticed a pattern of behavior with the teachers that if I could like sum it up, it was just unconditional care. I've seen kids acting out in unconditional care from these teachers to the students. And that's not on any metrics. So like when you look at like where Akron Public, any public school, I'm talking about Akron Public. Well, so if you look at where Akron Public is on the scorecard, it's not apples to apples. It's not. It can't be. They've got to be so much more. Because I had to be a parent to these boys, and I just had them for like an hour a week. An hour a week, and that took me out of what I was supposed. I noticed that like we got less done. And we had some errors at first because I had to devote time to just doing the parenting thing, you know, and multiply that by several hours a week at school and a whole district. And if you think of it like that scorecard ain't shit.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Agreed.
Oh my gosh. And not to take away from like the schools that are performing. But look at the metadata. Look at the experiences that lead up to that. And
I mean, I've seen there's the Waldorf school around here? The kids are just, it's a whole different school experience, right? You're with the same teacher all the way up through. Yeah. Every kid was happy in that school. They all liked each other. The teachers were all happy to be there. Yeah. You know, I taught for a few years. I taught Upward Bound. You know, so there's a first-time college students, video production. I taught at Kent State, like the freshmen coming in. Yeah. And we need more people that are. Most of the teachers that I ran into didn't want to be there. Wow. They didn't like being there. Yeah. They didn't like the students. They were scared of the students. It's like, why? You can't be scared of, you gotta be they're just kids, you know, talk to them. Yeah. And I had several students really appreciated that I talked to them. And other students are coming from other college, like, my teacher won't answer this. Can you answer this question for me? And like unrelated things. I'm like, sure, I'll talk to you about it. But yeah, I agreed. You don't throw money at it to make people, you know, money's not going to do. You can't change someone's philosophy by throwing money at them. That's not, it's a certain type of person, you know. But it builds back to community. It goes back to community. We expect the schools to be everything. Yeah. We're going to throw our kids there and they're going to take care of it. We don't have any community with it, you know. Yeah. And people that are, I mean, there are like sports communities and things of that nature, but we don't have the community like what you're doing here with the kids in the neighborhood. Most people don't talk to their kids in the neighborhood, and like that's what you should be talking to the kids in the neighborhood. Yeah. And you can't necessarily employ them in a place like this, but you can get them to cut your grass. Yeah. You can get them to come over and, you know, do things in your house that are outside just to get to know the community a little better. And we have a loss of and bless you for doing it. More people that are building community, because that's what it takes. It takes people just building community. These get-togethers, local products, shows that show people in Akron in positive light.
You may see me use that phrase as a program thing out here. Get together,
by all means,
because you just said it in a way that just made it kind of make sense to me. Like in a different way than it has. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, local get-together. Just bring people together and enjoy this community. But wow, I've seen, since I've been following your trajectory, you've done a lot. I mean, you're in the schools. I don't know if you're still in the schools doing like...
I'll get in there a little bit.
And the idea, I mean, I can see how you got fascinated with bees. Bees are fascinating. Like cool. I go down rabbit holes all the time with things. I started learning about bees. Jeez, they've been around like for a long, long time.
3 billion
and they
years.
Don't change. You know, they're still doing the same thing. Yeah. What was the most recent thing I learned about it? Was the royal jelly. Yeah. You know, feeding a queen royal jelly and she turns into a queen.
Yeah. Well, and the beekeeping community for forever has thought that it was just royal jelly that turns the queen, the larva, into a sexually mature queen. Mm-hmm. But it's actually royal jelly being there and then the absence of what they call bee bread.
Ah, okay.
So we forever thought it was like, oh, royal jelly things. Like, no. Royal jelly's there, but they take away bee bread. That's a variable that's removed, so that now, yeah.
And they're fascinating. It was like what I was watching Neil deGrasse Tyson talk about. That's the first species.
I'll listen to Neil talk anytime.
It was like the first species we've made contact with and communicated with was bees. We learned their language. Like we understand their language, how they move and how they wiggle and stuff. That was like the first contact. It was in Cosmos, I think it was. There's a
never thought about that.
And
before.
bees were the first contact. We learned their language and we could understand exactly where they're going to go, how they're talking, their orientation to the sun, all that stuff. And that's something that baffles me on a side note that we don't know we don't know how to speak to like any other mammals except for ourselves. We don't know how to speak to dolphins, and we're going to go out and find aliens and learn all these. It's amazing. It's baffling to me that we just don't even know. We haven't even bothered to learn the species on this planet that well.
Dude, it's kind of scary when you think about it. That like when you think about aliens and life forms that are also intelligent, but are probably way more superior. Like, think about it. We're mostly DNA-wise, I'm pretty sure. Look, I'm not Neil, okay?
Right.
But I'm a BQ, right? So we are closest to what? Monkeys, like chimps. But if we're closest to them and they can't even understand us, imagine what's like the next thing. And we can't, they would be whatever beings that would be so intelligent that we wouldn't even understand what they're saying.
We couldn't
even comprehend.
We won't even recognize they could be here right now. We don't even see them.
Look, really. You go outside and you see a colony of ants or bees or whatever. Do you think they really know we just walked past? Maybe instinctually they felt something, but like, to stop and all turn around, they don't. They keep doing what we're doing. Could that be us? Would we be on this rock, trapped on this rock, as everything is happening around us?
All the ancient stories and biblical stories go back to the watchers and things in the sky keeping an eye on us from above.
Man, and that's a whole other, here's another podcast. Here's another podcast. We pride ourselves with our advancements in technology and how space travel and everything. But bro, we're literally trapped on this rock. We can't breathe in outer space. We're trapped on this rock with this much air. And if you zoom out to the galaxies, we have like this much air, and we're on this little tiny pebble, and we can't go anywhere. Okay.
The human race amazes me. We're so insignificant, but we have so much potential, and we're so different than anything else on this planet. We're so, I don't know, there's something special about us humans. Maybe all animals think that way. They're all maybe in their own way.
Because who's to say that like ants aren't having conversations like we're having it? We just don't understand it.
Well, what gets me about any other thing, but they got to their climax, their plateau, and they stopped. Like it's like the beehive is stayed the same way forever.
It's been a long time, yeah.
And we just continually progress and change and build, and it's just this constant rebuilding and rechanging, and it's always making something better. And no other species.
Well, how? Okay, so
except for their own DNA, maybe.
Okay, really mean this. What if it appears as if these other species aren't advancing like we have, but they are? We just don't see it.
That's a possibility too. We're quite arrogant in our own views.
We are.
We have our views of what we think things are, and it's very flawed by all means. Ugh.
And maybe that's by design, because you see what we do to each other. You see how, like, with all of this intelligence, we still manage to screw things up and to hate each other and to not want to understand each other and look for opportunities to push someone else down. Like, thank God that we don't understand. They don't understand us.
Yeah.
Well, all the insects out here, what if they were as smart as us? And they're like, we're gonna take over. Your house will be surrounded by like freaking snakes.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of there's more like cattle and pigs and things than there are humans and things out there.
You've seen those videos with them them Rams cramming each other?
Yeah.
Like, what if they got together?
Yeah, we think we're superior. We're just like, we're at a moment now. We just have our time here on the planet. The rest of them are plotting and planning.
Yeah, you don't know. We don't know. So I guess like the what we can, really conclude is that like we should do better every chance we get. We should not assume that we're right, but strive to find our place to understand each other. Let's talk about something that is highly controversial, and I'm okay saying it now because the dust has settled a little bit. So Charlie Kirk. So when I saw, first of all, like I was one of those folks who was on the internet right when and then the video came out, and I didn't know what I was watching, and it was gut wrenching because he's human, and like that happened, and then I immediately thought, oh, bro, like didn't he have a family? And then I thought to myself, like, what is about to happen? Then I saw everyone's reaction and some people were being being lighthearted about it. I didn't like that because it's humanity, right? No matter what Charlie Kirk thought, and that's a whole separate conversation. But then there's others who were like, really upset, like unsettled by it. And then there was the other side where let's go to war over this, you know what I mean? Which I think that dust has settled a little bit. But going back to what I was saying about understanding, one of the arguments I saw with people who were okay with Charlie Kirk, they were saying, we respect him because he showed up and he wanted open discussion and a free speech, and he did it in a way that was nonviolent and everything. I see how they feel that way, but you don't build bridges by showing up somewhere and telling someone, change my mind, because you're telling someone that they're wrong. If you want to build bridges, you show up, you put a seat right here, and you be like, hey, my name is Wesley, and here's my view on this, but I want to understand better so we can all come together. That's how you do it. Otherwise, you're battling. You show up to battle with a tie on to look nice and feel nice to the people who already believe in you. So, like, I've been wanting to talk about like that, and I want to do it in a respectful way because, his kids' lives are now changed and his wife's life is now changed. So I want to do it in a respectful way, but like, truth be told, and truth be told, he said a lot of racist stuff. He said he said homophobic stuff. He said consistently like cruel things. Like, and the videos are there. It's not like,
Yeah, I mean, you can go watch his show. You can see it all.
I've seen him be super nice to people, very kind and loving. Like, when I started looking, I've been aware of Charlie Kirk for a while now. Like, I've watched some of his stuff. The clickbait, and this is coming from his channel, the clickbait stuff is like him telling people what's up. Like, and everyone's like, yeah, But I've seen him, say really nice things to people. Usually it's white folks he's saying that to. He'll say that I've noticed he said that to some black and brown people when they agree with him. I've seen that, but I've mostly seen just tearing at people, using words that reinforce the hate that folks already had. Like, one of the words I hate the most, man, is the word, and I've been called a lot of bad things in my life. Like, I grew up in a lot of like white spaces, so you can imagine what I heard. But the one word that I can't stand right now, and I couldn't stand it for the last several years, is the word illegal, and like calling people illegals. That's, for me, that's like saying all these niggas right here. Like, that's what that is like for me. To hear that, because what you're doing is essentially you're taking this phrase and you're attaching it to all these people, and you're reinforcing that and supporting it and flowering it with ideas of them taking something from you. And like, oh, they're changing things. And oh, they're taking our jobs and they just want what's yours. They've been saying the same thing about black folks back in the civil rights era, Jim Crow era before that. It sounds the same to me. So like, I can't stand, I don't, and what really, really hurts me is that I see that people don't see that. They just openly say, oh, they're illegals. Like, don't you hear what you're saying? You're tearing people down. You're hurting. You're taking a people who all like deserve a shot, and you're just tearing down. Like, what if you came from rough circumstances and like someone just denigrated you when you just wanted a shot? You know, like you can't tell me that. And that's Charlie Kirk. That was a lot of different folks. You know, but you can't tell me that you're in it for you're in it for the right reasons. You're a God-fearing person. That's the whole thing. When I saw like people talking about, oh, you know, martyr, man of God, I'm like, which God? Like, which one? I had to have a conversation with my dad about this. My dad's black, obviously, but he's like way more right. I know, I'll make that face too. People make that face that you just made, like, huh? And he grew up back in the day, but like, he sounds like a lot of folks on the right, where equating and conflating Jesus, Christianity with Donald Trump, Charlie Kirk, and people. And I had a conversation with him the other day. I said, hey, Dad, so he said, I serve Jesus. And I'm like, which one? And he goes, oh, he got mad. It's like, oh, the one, the Nazareth and the one who gives life. And I'm like, I understand that, but the things you're saying, you've like created your own God. And there's another one that's in the Bible. So if you can clarify, Dad, and I said in a respectful way, could you just tell me which one? And then he starts talking about Biden and all this stuff. But that's a big thing,
yeah.
Bro. That's a thing that we like. So I feel like that whole tradition, and it's still going on, where you show up to college campuses, you sit in a chair on your pedestal, and then you change my mind. That's so arrogant.
Agreed.
That's arrogant. That's arrogant. That is absent of love. That's absent of care. That's absent of empathy. That's absent of anything that's good. Show up to understand. Don't assume that you're right. Assume there's something you don't know. That's how you build bridges, which is again, that's the big problem I have with that whole movement, where you show up to a campus. And even like if there are folks on the left, I usually see folks on the right doing that, but I know there's probably folks on the left who's doing that too. And that's not what you do. You have to come to the table and say, look, I'm gonna tell you and leave myself vulnerable. I'm gonna tell you what I think, but I want to leave myself vulnerable by saying, look, I may not know, and I want to understand better from your perspective.
That's a great way to look at it. Understanding somebody else's point of view. That's what people are missing today. They want to tell you their point of view and have no idea why you don't understand it.
Yeah.
Why don't you get this? Here it is. Why don't you get this? On the Charlie Kirk aspect, the thing that, I don't think a lot of people even knew who he was until it happened, first off. I think probably 80% didn't have a clue.
Yeah,
and now he's the golden
man.
savior, and they're having there have been so many great people that have died that could have had recognition. Jimmy Carter didn't raise the flag, Jimmy Carter was an amazing human.
Yeah.
You don't like his politics, I don't care. He built houses till he was 90-something, almost 100 years old, still building houses. That's a good guy right there, no matter what you like. That's a good person.
Yeah.
When Charlie Kirk and the church and people in the church started saying that empathy was bad, and we're going to go against empathy, that's when I started being like, that's what makes us human.
Yeah.
If you think that empathy's bad because you have empathy for a drug user or a homeless person or somebody that's the message of Jesus. Where you lost the message of Jesus, this aspect. You're supposed to have empathy for people. And when he got shot, the first thing I thought was, oh God, please don't die. Please don't die.
Yeah.
I thought about his kids, his little kids and his wife, and nobody wants to see that.
Yeah.
And I know there was a lot of people that were happy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's wrong with you? If you're happy when someone's dead, when Saddam Hussein was killed, when Gaddafi was dragged through the streets and they were raping him on the streets and showing the news, I felt sympathy.
Yeah.
Am I the bad person because I feel compassion?
No.
That's human.
Yeah.
And we're losing that. If you can look at someone and call them, like you said, illegal, we're on this earth. Nobody is illegal on this planet.
Yeah.
You won the effing genetic lottery of being born here. And you're better. You know how many for lack of words, pieces of shit I got to hear say, I'm an American, I fucking live here, my relatives go back. So what?
Yeah.
You're all illegal. Or, I mean, if you say you came here illegally on your logic, right?
Yeah.
And so nobody, it's just, we're humans.
It's that's rooted in like feel for me, but I don't want to feel for you. Cause like, you know, for that group to say like, this is my country, you're neglecting that, there are people before you who are here first who've suffered larger atrocities than our population. Mm-hmm. I'll give you an example. So like 9/11, most of us were alive during 9/11. A lot of us were. And you remember how horrible that was and how badly that hurt, how it felt to know that like 3,000 people or whatever it was. I'm not sure exactly the number. It was a lot of people who died. Okay, well, if you know that pain, imagine being a part of our indigenous population, where 90-some percent, since Europeans are 90% of their population is gone, like millions upon millions. There's a stat I've read many stats on it, and it's like I don't want to say like 90 million. It's a lot of people. It's Googleable. You can Google it. But it's a lot of people from that population are gone. And if that's not enough, like ask yourself, we know a fact that our native population was here first. Cool. If they were here first, why don't you ever see any of them? Because they're all dead. In the scope of it, based on their numbers before, they're all dead. Mm-hmm. They're all gone. When I see, and this is a whole other conversation too, but like I see things like that arrowhead on Porter's Path, the signal tree, and I see everyone like, it's a part of history. Like those are memorials. Those aren't like points of celebration. You should mourn that. You should look at that and say, I see the sculpture of those people we make, but I don't see these people anymore. We're all trapped on this rock together.
And I mean, it could easily happen to this country too. I mean, disease basically wiped out a large percentage right off the bat. As soon as people got off those ships, it spread like a virus and killed a lot. And that had to be horrible just to watch people die.
And them not knowing what's happening.
No idea. And then they come through and conquer them after the disease wiped them out. And then, like you said, these ideas that we put up memorials all over the place. And it's...
I hate. Like I've seen there was this Facebook post a few years ago, and someone had taken some pictures of like Porter's Path and like the arrowhead and signal tree, and then people started like putting all their favorite pastimes. Oh, I love taking mine to signal tree. Oh, the history. I'm like, y'all like just go to a cemetery. It's the same thing. It's just like it's a headstone. Maybe no bodies are under there, but this is like a remembrance of something that was here. If you want to be dead serious with yourself, ask yourself what happened. What exactly happened to these people that they're no longer here? They're a big enough deal to say, hey, they were the original inhabitants, but they're not a big enough deal to really interrogate the reality of the situation.
We've romanticized it and we've normalized it, right?
Yeah.
We got Cuyahoga Falls.
Yeah.
Bolivar.
Yeah.
Named after Bolivar, Simon Bolivar. I mean, we get all these various names all over here that we don't know what they are. We just like live with it. And it's like, that's just normal.
Yeah.
Ohio, Lake Erie, these names are all
what you're saying is that we love, and I've noticed this, we as Americans, and I'm not going to be like, white people, but us as Americans love culture. But we have a problem. We love and respect culture, but we don't love and respect the people of that culture. Coming from like a person who is of color, black guy, I can just tell you with like eyes wide open. I've seen that my whole life where, our culture has been used as like the benchmark. It's like, the music, the food, the art has been used, but like, when it comes to our voices, it's just like, nah, like your experience ain't shit. It's kind of like saying, like, again, Facebook is one of the worst places to have these kinds of conversations and watch dialogue. But like I've seen reaction to, terrible things that have happened and just talking about anything having to do with black. And you always get like a lot of white voices who say like, oh no, you guys are just being, you're talking about race. You're talking about like you're bringing it back, and like you're being divisive. It's like, no, we're just talking about our experience. But what I'm saying is like the voice of the people of that culture is usually just like diminished while we're taking parts of that culture and using it for whatever, and elevating that, but not the people. So I mean,
I can see it. I can see that we'll celebrate football with a lot of black football players. We'll celebrate the music that goes with it. But when someone wants to take a knee, oh my God, that's the end of the world, because they're having a silent protest again. It just, you can see to where we care about that, but not the moon.
No, as long as you keep playing, as long as you keep doing what
just keep your mouth shut.
And that's historic shit. A lot of folks say like, oh, well, slavery happened a long time. There's so much trickle down that's happened that like they don't know about. They don't realize. Like, I mean, it's so much. So my family's from the South. And Barnesville, Georgia, to be specific. And just to tell you how close that is to us, like my grandmother, she died like 4 years ago, but she was 100. So like she's been around way back then. And one of the things that our family has said, like just a way in which we speak is saying, oh, he ain't no count. And a lot of people don't know what that means, but what they're meaning in that moment is like, oh, he ain't worth nothing. But what that used to mean, the reason why they're saying it now is because way back in the day, when the auction block was happening, when we were in shackles, or even after that, a lot of the families would try to dismiss like their kids to slave owners so that they wouldn't be sold. So that they because they need the strongest ones out in the field. Oh, he ain't no count. That shit was a long time ago. However, it's so close to us. Like the trickle down is real. It's very, very real. I mean, that's why we call it culture. We still do the same things now that we've done many, many years ago, like hundreds of years ago. And we're proud of it, but when it just comes to like certain parts of the culture that aren't palatable is dismissed, We should acknowledge all that stuff, all of it.
It's peppered into our language and we don't realize it, There's a lot of words that I think about and I try not to use them. And I don't know, maybe I'm just weird for this. I try not to use masters. I think master's degree, master bedroom. There's some
because of slave master.
Just master in general. If it's slave master or a master that owns anybody, it's a weird concept to me.
It is,
and there's a lot of words that are peppered through our language that go back that have a lot of bad connotation. That I don't think people even realize it. And you see it here and there, but it's become normalized. That's it. And what scares me now, and since we're talking about things we're seeing a big normalization of things that shouldn't be normalized in this country right now. The normalization of putting the National Guard on the streets. Yeah. We live right down the road from Kent State for anybody that's watching this. And I interviewed Christopher Butler a couple weeks ago, and he was at Kent State.
Wow.
And I interviewed a lot of people at Kent State that saw that happen. They're not too happy about the National Guard showing up on places. Yeah. And it's coming here to Akron. I'm scared to death now.
Yeah, I think that
it's
easy for us to think that and not react to it because we feel like it's so far away. But bro, we got somebody right now in office who will feel a certain way and flick the switch, and now it's on our streets, or now it's a part of our lives, or has been funding removed, or whatever, for no logical reasons other than emotional reasons. But yeah, it could be pretty close. And I mean, especially with things happening, all you needed is a reason. Yep. The murder that happened 2 nights ago. Yep. And I'm just like, what? It still hasn't hit me. And then we just walked right past it. My wife and I walked to Aladdin's, and I'm like, oh, this is where, I'm like, so let me get this straight. 18 hours before I'm standing here, there was someone petting a dog. And there were 2 other people who had some sort of altercation, and they, from what I know, both had guns, and there was crossfire, and the guy petting the dog died. Like, whoa. It starts hitting you. And rest in peace, I believe his name was Timothy Hutchinson, I think. But you get that, you get there was a murder-suicide that just happened. You get enough of those, and not to get political, but Trump is a type of guy.
All it's got to do is hit his radar.
All he needs is a reason. Shit, he didn't really need any reasons to start terrorizing the Haitians in Springfield. He just made that shit up. He just made that up, poof. Like a little wand, like he's Harry Potter or something, just made it up.
And it's amazing to me that people on the other side of the aisle just don't see that setting this foundation for being this way is eventually going to affect you when power changes.
Because it's easy on, I would imagine, because I don't want to speak for them, I would imagine that if I'm on the right and I've supported Trump and all them, that you feel power right now. You feel like things are going in the right direction. But what they don't realize is that in this country, the other party could be elected, number one, and number two, Donald Trump is writing the guidebook on how to do it. Who's to say on the left side, there's not a lunatic that does this, and now they are the ones who are feeling the pain. It's really dangerous. Not just because, it's not going no, it should not be that way. Where one person, and here's a whole different podcast, narcissistic personality disorder. If America had an understanding of what that was and what that does to individuals, I don't think we would have had this issue at all, because we would see that Donald Trump has fits that bill specifically, but his specific circumstances make it a super dose of it. He's got power, he's had influence, he's had an absence of people to tell him no. Yeah. So it's a for real. And I openly talk about narcissistic personality disorder online a bit because it hit our family. My wife is a person who grew up in a narcissistic personality disorder, dual parents. They were both that way. And we didn't realize it. We got married 21 years ago, but we didn't realize it at first. We only realized it 2 years ago. And I had to really dive deep in education on that topic, for a whole year. I was binging on that topic until I could realize oh my gosh, her parents are that. And when you get hip to narcissistic personality disorder and you have someone in your life who's like that, it's like a movie where you see the movie at the beginning to end and it's one way, but then at the end there's a twist and then it makes you look at everything that happened and you're like, that's why they did that. That's why. And I'm I always wondered. And then with narcissistic personality disorder, there is a consistent element of lying to manipulate circumstances. That creates what they call supply and everything. So they lie so much to so many different people that it works for a while and it's always going to work. But years after, you're going to start hearing the things that actually happened. And that's what happened with my wife and I. We started hearing the things that actually happened. And I'm just whoa, that's why. Wow. And these people coming out the woodwork yeah. At your wedding, they did say this stuff. I'm why didn't y'all tell me this 20 years ago?
Well, we don't talk about mental conditions and things in our country that much I wish someone would have told me about my ADHD when I was a kid and set me down and explained some things to me. It made my life way easier instead of realizing I'm in my 40s, oh, okay, that's why. I thought all these unique quirks and personality things were unique to me and it was just me being me.
Yeah.
No, it's across the board ADHD. You all act this way. You're all very, very similar.
I like how you said earlier that you felt like you were just not intelligent.
I felt stupid. I felt so stupid until I was in my early 20s. I discussed this. I barely got into college. I got to University of Akron.
We're the same person.
I barely got into college, And when I was in school, if I got good grades, if I liked the class, I would get an A in it. But if I didn't, it would just be a D. I could study for the class all night, still get a D, just not retain anything.
Yeah.
And I went to college and I did my typical thing and I joined a fraternity and I drank a little too much, because everybody did, and partied. And I got kicked out because my grades were horrible, and I couldn't decide what I wanted to do. Now, for me personally, I took some time off and I had cut back on my drinking, which really helped a lot. But I personally started using cannabis and caffeine.
Yeah.
Not getting like blown out high all the time, but I would smoke some weed and I would study and I would get straight A's.
So with cannabis then, that's kind of downer.
Yeah.
And then like your caffeine picks it back up.
Yeah.
How does that work together?
It's a weird thing. The caffeine kind of silences my brain, and the cannabis also kind of narrows it down a little bit.
Whoa.
So like I try to think of like 1,000 TVs on at once and they're all full volume and you're trying to concentrate on one.
Yeah.
This narrows it down to that one TV and I can focus on it. And I can kind of go there. I made Dean's List. I dropped out and I made Dean's List.
I'm so happy you're here today doing this.
No, I don't recommend people, everybody's different with cannabis, but there's CBD, which is a product of cannabis. It doesn't get you high, so to speak. That can help people. People, I would tell them that are like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, no, it works for me. And now that it's legal, I don't got to feel like, somebody's doing something illegal all the time.
Yeah.
But it really helped me out. And there's a lot of us out there, and not many people talk about it. I'm openly talking about it, but I know a lot of people that are very productive potheads that you would never know at all. And until I told people, they don't know, because I'm not Cheech and
I can tell you smoke weed.
You can feel it. But I don't. But I
wouldn't rule it out.
But I don't come off as like.
No, you don't. You don't. You don't.
Crunchy.
Yeah, no, yeah,
you don't got to be crunchy.
I should say this. I feel like I would not have ruled it out.
Right.
I'm not gonna say it here. I'm gonna say. Let me rephrase. I'm not gonna. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. That like, oh, I could tell you smoke weed. No. I didn't mean that. I could tell that it's not off the table.
Right. Definitely. And that helps. It's helped my personality. Like I wish there were clubs for it around here, but our laws are really strange in Ohio. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that they even legalize it, to be honest with you.
Going back to something you said, you mentioned, we were talking about how you didn't feel intelligent and how, you barely got into college. I'm so happy you're here today because, like, that's me. When I went to rural high school. I said it was one of the best school districts, and it still is in the States. But like I graduated with like a 1.4 GPA. I didn't do any homework. I just didn't want to do anything but play sports and have a good time. Like not even have a good time, but just like have just fun, to go outside and run around. Cause it was like a lot of woods out there in the rural back in the 80s.
You could feel comfortable in that world, right?
Yeah.
You felt normal in that world.
Yeah, I guess I did. I felt very alive and normal rather than doing homework, which I didn't see the point of. But like 1.4, I had to go to summer school after I graduated just to get into college, which I went to Teal College. What changed? And I didn't think, look, I absolutely thought I was stupid until my first semester at Kent State. I felt like I was just an idiot. I'm slipping through, like I was actually jumping through loopholes to be successful. I thought I was an idiot. And I'll never forget it. Like you said, you're on the Dean's List. When I went to Kent State, I got on the Dean's List. And I think that life hit me. I never partied or any of that stuff. I was at Teal College in Greenville, PA the first year. Took a year off, came back to Ohio, worked. But like what changed me was like having responsibility and working and knowing that I had to pay for the rest of my school. And that was the course I had to take. And I remember like I noticed I was changing, and I was changing when I enrolled at Kent State, and I was super motivated. I was so motivated that when I got my syllabus, I taught myself like all of the subjects before. You gotta understand, this is a new thing for me. So I was like on a high. It was so awesome, like learning and not feeling stupid. So I remember like working at night. I worked at the Bertram Inn and Conference Center in Aurora, and we would work like from 2 p.m. to 1 a.m. like many times on the weekends. I would be like working, and then I would go home and I would just be reading the narrative, the life and times of Frederick Douglass, and teaching myself macroeconomics. And when I tell you, when I had my first semester, my first class, I sat up in the front row and I was answering all the questions. Like it was almost like I was a super nerd, and everyone else was like, man, who is this freaking guy? And I'm like thinking, yeah, it's the guy who barely got here. And like I see the value of just like I didn't see the value of graduating college and everything. I just felt the value of not feeling stupid all the time.
And it becomes a dopamine thing. When you learn something and you actually retain it and you can explain it to somebody, like I can tell you what I learned, you get a little rush, so to speak. For ADHD people, it basically comes out, it's like diabetes. You have to regulate your insulin. Your brain doesn't produce the dopamine like everybody else's does. So you have to crave.
I'm learning here about this. Like I'm a viewer right now.
Okay, so you have to crave dopamine. You have to find dopamine. And a lot of people become addicts. They become alcoholics. They become drug addicts because of the dopamine that you get from that, and then you get stuck in that. You can find dopamine through education, learning. That's one thing for me. I started really learning things.
That makes sense.
Bam, it stuck.
That makes sense.
And that made me excited. And when you talked about your syllabus, I did the same thing. I'd learn ahead, I'd read ahead, and know everything before I got there. So I knew it before I got there. And I was excited about it. But before then, I wasn't excited about it. I didn't want to be there. And I guess having a couple good teachers too. Like you talked about having role models in the community. Like my father was there, and he's a great dad and everything. You know, I love my father, but I met some men. I say men; they were just role models and teachers, college professors that gave me some information that I didn't get elsewhere. You know, because my dad also has ADHD, and he grew up in Southern Ohio, and they're limited to their point of view. I love my father. If you're watching this, it's nothing against you, but that's your point of view is Southern Ohio, and you didn't even know about ADHD until recently. Yeah. So it's the mentality of I lost my track where I was going there. My father. I wish that I could teach myself a little bit about ADHD. I wish I could learn more as a kid. But you crave dopamine, so you got to figure out ways to get dopamine. You get it from exercise. Go out in the woods, take a 5-minute hike.
You know, I think that your
best
time
thing you possibly do.
Your time here today has definitely taught me some stuff about myself. Like you keep throwing out these nuggets, like the dopamine. You mentioned it earlier on, but I didn't catch what you were. I didn't understand. I'm like, maybe it's kind of like he's reaching, but no, I get it because I'm always teaching myself new things. And I do get so excited when I figure it out, whether it's plumbing, whether it's like electronics, electricity, honey, whether it's like producing music and learning new tricks and being able to say, yo, we were the new voice of the NBA and I did it from a basement in Akron, Ohio. Like, I get that. And it never stops. And my wife has always... She's been the one who's like, you know, she's been a mirror for me where she like shows me what I am like and she defines it. She's like, you never stop. You like learning things a lot. And I'm like, oh, I guess I do. Oh, you like, you know, it's hard for you to stop. And I'm like, what is she talking about? I'm like, oh yeah, I guess when I get home, I kind of want to go out and keep doing things sometimes, you know?
Once you get on that wave, you don't want to stop it. And it's because most people they have a level, they have a tap of it comes in. And you're just constantly at well, you're not like that, and I'm not like that, and a lot of us aren't like that. We just have to plan around it. Yeah. It's almost like, you know, if you're a bodybuilder, you got to plan for your diet for the day. You got to think about what you're going to do. You know, you got to, and if you don't, and if I choose to like not get up and go outside and do something, I'm going to have a horrible day. If I choose to pick up that phone and doom scroll, oh God, I'm gonna have a horrible day.
Scrolling? Oh man, take my phone away, man.
And so it's best to, because it gives you dopamine too. That's the thing. Those doom scrolling gives you dopamine. Those games give you dopamine. All those things can give you a rush to your head. So my recommendation for people with ADHD, go outside, get some exercise, find things you love, and don't get in your head. Because the hardest part for me is I get in my head. Yeah. And I think that like I overshare, and that can be, you know, because when someone overshares to you, or for instance, you're having a conversation with somebody, right? And they're like, oh, I had that happen to me too. Yeah, that happened to me. Let me tell you my story. Yeah. And some people think that's rude.
Yeah. Because they're making it about them.
That's ADHD sharing. Because you're excited. You're like, you know what? No one's ever told me that. And I feel enough connection to you to tell you this right now. It's you're trying to build a connection. Because for me, my whole life, I've had trouble building connections because I'm too much for people. A little too much, you know? A little too much, you know? And it's hard maintaining friendships and all that. So I just have to realize I'm a little bit...
No. See, that's what the world's going to make you feel like, because people have told me that too. Corporate America, trust me. Yeah.
But I'm not too much.
I haven't had my coffee yet. I'm like... Okay, like it makes you feel, and when people tell you that, you think something's wrong with you.
It makes you diminished, because and your brain runs a little bit quicker too. I listened to a thing about autistic people, and ADHD and autism kind of they're cousins. We'll say there's similarities in there. I mean,
similarities.
Yeah,
Okay.
like I'm not extremely autistic, but I have like sound things mess with me and whatnot.
Yeah.
But they say they feel their brains move faster. Like even nonverbal ADHD or autistic kids that end up talking, they feel their brain moves too fast and they can't communicate. I've often felt like I'm a Ferrari in a 25 mile per hour school zone, and that's how I have to live my life. Constantly, just like people when they walk slow in front of me. I know I'm 52 now, I'm getting older, and eventually I'm gonna walk slow, but nothing annoys me more than someone that's like, can't, and I'm like,
oh man.
or if I talk to somebody,
I'm learning so much.
If I talk to somebody and they like you talk to somebody and they have like that real long story that I'm like,
bro.
Because I know what the story ended. I mean, when someone tells me a story, I pretty much know the ending already. I've figured it out. I went in my mind, I've figured shit out, but you're not getting to the end, but I know the end already.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of learning these things about yourself is fun, They're fun to learn, and there's nothing wrong, I'm speaking to you, Watch. There's nothing wrong with having ADHD, nothing wrong with autism, because the most brilliant people across the board, they're trying to paint this picture in this country now that where anybody with ADHD or autism is messed up in the head and we're going to do something about that. This is a problem. No, that's what changes the world. That's what they're scared of. All the people. Leonardo da Vinci, there's this a litany. Albert Einstein. These were all people on the spectrum. Those are the people that change the world. Those are the ones that make things better. Those are the ones that see a different way. Those are the ones that's going to save humanity. I mean, I'm not saying I'm that, or I'm not saying you're that, but those thinkers that think differently, and we're trying to drown that out now.
Yeah, it's always been like that.
We're trying to make them look like they're bad. ADHD and autism has been around forever. My fear and what it's caused from, I do have a theory. It's Tylenol.
Oh, is this about to be a conspiracy theory?
No, this isn't a conspiracy. This is truthful theory, and I think it makes a lot of sense. It's stress, not from a time being born, generational stress.
Okay.
Because your mother was in your great-grandmother's womb, cellularly speaking, right?
Yeah.
So she had a lot of stress. No food, wars, racism, you name it. There's tons of stresses, right? That's going to have a stressed kid. Stressed kid meets another stressed kid, has stressed kids. It's a stress thing aspect. And it's not bad. It's just a matter of, like, my parents are both on the spectrum. They don't want to admit that, but they are. And they had me, and I'm on the spectrum, If you breed, like animals, they foxes is one.
Yeah.
They take the nice fox and the nice fox, and they make a nice fox and a nice fox, and eventually you have this fox that's like a domesticated animal. It changes colors, it's everything. It's like they look differently, they bark differently and everything. If you take stress ones and breed them, and stress ones and breed them, you get a stressed animal.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want to, we are animals and there is a breeding aspect to us, so maybe it is generational stress. That goes back to like the Civil War, that goes back to World War I, that goes back to the Great Depression.
Well, if other things are generational, why wouldn't that, how couldn't that be?
That's in our DNA, I think, and that's probably a predecessor for we need more change.
Yeah.
We need these people that are stressed that are going to change things and make it better for the next generation.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with you having ADHD.
So ADHD oversharing. So you want to know a cool way to monitor that as someone who lives with ADHD? So, and this is for y'all all at home. If the person you're talking to says, "That's crazy," if they say it like twice, you got to wrap it up.
Oh, man.
If you hear that twice, you got to wrap it up, man.
I just felt like I got hit in the face with a takeout punch, man. Every time I heard, that's crazy. That's weird. That's strange.
No, little words like that. That they're filler words. Where they're like, if they had a button that had the wrap up music, they would have hit it.
Yeah.
That's the same thing as them saying like, "Oh, like that's crazy."
I can feel that.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah. So that's when I was in corporate America, I had a boss. He's my district manager. His name was Chris Harper. And it's funny, like there were two things from him that I have held on to in my life. One is interrogate the reality. And he was talking about like employees, okay, they're not hitting their numbers, but interrogate the reality of the situation. It's not that they're not hitting their numbers. It's because that they maybe misunderstand this thing, or maybe they have this deeply seated fear of asking for the sale twice or whatever. That was the one thing, interrogate the reality. And because we can use that right now, like interrogate the reality of the political situation, or the emotional situation, or of whatever. So that's the first thing. The second thing, I almost forgot what it was. Hang on. It was interrogate the reality. And, he always used to say, like, because I would, like, talk to my team. I would always speak with them. I had to do meetings. And he's like, Wesley, talk in bullet points. The first time he said that, I was just like, dang, that kind of hurts. But then I realized he's right, because that's really for the good of the receiver, the person who's over there, who's where you're at, and who is taking the time to get up in the morning, 7 in the morning, to be at this meeting, deliver the information in a way that's easy for them to ingest in bullet points. And for them to remember too, because if you want them to pay attention, in bullet points. You want to remember, bullet points. And I try to do that too with social, instead of saying, hey guys, there's this thing happening, start off with hey y'all, thank you guys so much for your support. Here are 3 things that you need to know. That way they know what's kind of coming, and then that there's an end to it.
That's
rather than just talk, because it's almost like verbally doom scrolling. Mm-hmm. You just talking. So yeah, that's crazy. Dude, that's crazy. Wrap it up.
Or another one, if you catch yourself thinking, I'm probably saying too much, you probably are.
Yeah, you're probably saying too much. You probably, and it's funny, that oversharing, I'm aware, I've been made aware of that, because more recently I came across, this is a recent thing that I'm realizing that I was ADHD, because I came across some self-help stuff on Instagram. You know how the algorithms are. Mm-hmm. Once it either hears you talking about it or you search it, it's all you see. And thankfully it did, because I started seeing myself, and I began to be more aware, and just not more, but just aware of my little habits, oversharing and taking on too much and not having a good concept of time. That's one I'm really trying to figure out, because my brain has
time blindness.
Time blindness, bro. That's a real thing.
Mm-hmm. Get lost.
Oh my goodness.
It's happened. My daughter would be like, "You coming to the game tonight?" I'm like, "Oh, it's 7. Shit, I'm supposed to be there." I've been working. You just get that's.
It's this dysphoric way.
Yeah.
For instance, okay, I have to pour 10 cases of honey. For normal folks, they would go all the steps. Boom, 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 boom. Me, I'm okay, honey in jar. All right, that'll take me an hour, without even realizing, there's this step there. I have to walk over here, put each box over here. I have to label I have to batch code each jar. I have to batch code the case. I have to make sure there's honey in here. There's all this stuff that I don't even consider. And then that, my kids always say this, Dad, you say you're gonna be home in a few minutes. It's 2 hours.
I get it in quoting my video projects. Someone gonna be, it'll be whatever, and don't think, what the hell are you thinking? That's gonna take you days to get this done. But that's what they expect it to be. But doesn't matter what they expect it to be. It's how long is it gonna take you to do this? And you end up losing in the long run.
Yeah, well, what I found too is since our brains are wired like that, I have to constantly go out of my way to condition it to not think like that, or to not think, but have these little, almost patch software to allow me to be more efficient. I have, and my patch software are reminders on my phone. Hey, don't stress about it. You can do it. What did you do to organize today? How have you perceived time today? Things that make me constantly just think about those things that I'm missing. Because I know we talked about time blindness, but I've got some as people who think like this, we've got our blind spots. Mm-hmm. Other folks can see us more clearly. And I remember, again, I learned a lot about myself in corporate America, because a lot of those folks didn't have ADHD, or maybe they did and they got medicated for it, but they saw me in the complete raw, living life like that. And they'll tell you, hey, this one time when I first started as a general manager, this one store, again, organization isn't the thing and time blindness. And I messed up the schedule, or I didn't put it in time. I didn't do something. And this one kid in front of everybody, he was showing that he was like a little frustrated, and he kept questioning me. And at the peak of his frustration, he goes, "I just don't trust you." And that's just like, I'm like, whoa, I got to take this more seriously. I got to really, this has got to be more of a fiduciary relationship where I care for that person, not in a way that I'd want to be cared for, because I guess in my shoes, I don't give a care. I'm going with the flow, whatever. But people like planning. People want to have things they want to do. So I've got to operate in a way that makes them feel comfortable with that and allows them to do that.
Got a mask to live in the real world. Got to put that mask on and play their roles to do it.
You got to rewire. You got to patch software.
By all means. We are about 2 hours into it. So I got one more thing I wanted to say. Is there anything you wanted to bring up that I haven't brought up with you on our tour? We talked about honey. We talked about all
this
stuff.
Is probably 5 different topics as far as podcast or whatever. So I hope you can source really good from this.
Oh, we have all kinds of fun stuff. I'm going to pull little clips out and everything. So I got one more thing about ADHD I want to talk about that realized that I had all my life. I didn't understand a tip for it.
Yeah.
Background music. Background music.
I can't believe you're here because I want to hear what you're about to say. I don't know what you're about to say, but I know that that's a part of my. Tell me.
Background music. Silence is the worst thing ever. I gotta have something in the background, non-lyrical, right? Something that pops around in tones, or another good one, like
Really?
Your brain will feel that, and it'll just go. Tones are amazing.
Okay.
Binaural beats, tones, and non-lyrical, whatever. I personally, classical doesn't do it for me. What gets me is my brain jumps around. Hip-hop, not hip-hop, but techno.
Yeah.
Non-lyric techno EDM music with no lyrics in it, just bopping around. Perfect for me to get stuff done.
Yeah.
As a background. Lyrics, on the other hand, aren't good for background for me because I can't get work done because then I'm singing to the song and I'm listening to the lyrics. But that's been a big help for me. If I would have known that because as a kid I was told you had to be silent, sit there in silence at the table and study. And even like to go to bed at night. I can't go to bed unless I have some noise in the room because my mind wanders too much.
Yeah.
The noise is like a boundary. Mm-hmm. If that makes any sense, it puts a boundary on the brain.
Yeah.
And non-lyrical music in the background, if you got to get something done, it's like instant focus for me.
So for me, I do that. I do there's specifically Brazilian jazz, bossa, some samba, and a lot of bossa just is instrumental.
And it's got that bounce around to it. It's what most people's brains don't do that, and it annoys a lot of people. Get annoyed by that music because it's not the way their brain pattern works. Where that's perfect for me. I love that stuff.
But sometimes then, after working here for several hours and hearing that, it's almost as if I have to experience silence. I just want, and that's probably comes from after listening to podcasts. That's probably what it is.
Yeah,
because I listen to a lot of I listen to podcasts and news, and I'm just no, I just gotta stop.
Yeah, podcast. You get to the point where you got to walk away from it.
Yeah,
I listen to a tremendous amount of podcasts. I mean, I always had headphones on when I'm working. I mean, that's just the way that I focus, and it makes my life so much easier. If you did watch this and you get a lot about ADHD on this one, well, hopefully you learned some stuff. Hopefully you learned some stuff about Akron. We talked a lot about, we had a good conversation. I can't wait to get this one released. It was a lot,
man. We talked about a lot. I didn't think it was going to be like this.
Did you enjoy your day here? Let's start with that.
This is how much I enjoyed it. I was supposed to be somewhere a half hour ago, and I'm not even whatever.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's cool, man. Cool.
We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. If you listen this long and you're still watching, bless you. Go down and hit that like button, subscribe button, pass it out to your friends and family. Thank you for making time for me today.
Yeah, thank you.
And hey, thanks for checking out Blue Green's World.